is that our free will is acting upon information that is heavily processed and constrained heavily. In other words, we have free will, but it is bound by the fact that our sensations and emotions are blended together and there's nothing we can do to help that. It's bound by the fact that our senses are limited in certain ways and that our senses are actively trying to construct narratives. So sort of within what we can do, yeah. But a lot of philosophy has imagined that we can be pure, that we can act on pure sensory information in a dispassionate way. And it seems very, very clear that the brain is not built for that. There is no pure sensory information. And we're always emotional beings, whether we want to be or not. I think maybe it's getting late, so I'll take one more, and I'm happy to chat with people afterwards and sign books. So, last question.
Actually, I have two questions.
Fair enough.
In the short brain patient experiment, did they always pick up the chicken card before the shoulder card? Or did they
This is just they always pick up chicken card before the shoulder.
They said that they picked up the shoulder because they needed for the chicken, so they always picked up the chicken first.
Well, you know, quite honestly, I'm not sure that description of that is precise enough. So, my understanding is that the order doesn't matter in this experiment. That it doesn't. That in either way you will get a similar confabulation. However, keep in mind this isn't there aren't very many split brain patients available to do these experiments on. It's not like there's an N of 100. This is like a very tiny group. And what I read you was the account of one individual. What was your second?
The next one involves your how humans create narratives. Is that maybe part of the reason why it's impossible for us to think about nothing? We cannot stop thinking.
Is that part of the reason why it's impossible to think about nothing? Well, there are people in certain traditions who have claimed that they can achieve thinking about nothing, and I don't know, if that's true. I would say it's not something that we do naturally, and clearly our narrative creation is happening both in our sleeping life and our waking life. But I'm not really in a position to either accept or deny Buddhist meditative practitioners who claim that they can entirely empty their minds, for example. It's an interesting question, though.
All right, thank you very much, David.
Would you like to discuss your notes?
You guys ready to rock with that?
Would you like to discuss your notes?
I can't discuss them. Not much to discuss. But the three categories are kind of interesting.
I have like 6 minutes.
And memories, REM sleep. Some of this stuff that we're going to be talking about is the president was on.
Do you really? Saying goodbye?
We're going to be reading this book right here.
Right.
Yeah, everything that we talked about is already here. So, this is one of our AS people. And so this is a lot of brain stuff in here, and it's about sleep. And not much about response in here, but sleep's a huge one, and dreaming too.
I think religion is partially social based. Or not necessarily that it's social based, but that it's based upon speed. Because you notice when he asked the girl what her question was, and she said that she had 2 questions, he said, fair enough. It was the acceptance of a condition. So I'm wondering if it's that the need to get something done is why perhaps we have religion. or why we have conclusions that don't necessarily follow. The need for practicality creates it.
People that write about that, Terrence Deacon is one, and Doyle Rue is another. And these are two people that are interested in the brain and interested in explaining the brain and the origin of religion in a naturalistic sense. And there are a few others that are writing about that.
Well, I suspect even that you could create religion just without having an origin of religion. Like with the Orcs and Craig. They tried to get the gene out and they still came up with a religion.
Yeah, religion's a cumbersome word, and sometimes we don't understand like the virtue, really what it is. And,
well, in order to even start to understand them, we speak about them in chunks. And in speaking about them in chunks, we always end up with contradictions. And then we get more and more detailed about what we mean about them until we sort of start to understand them.
People have different ideas of what a religion is,
Yeah.
what a religion ought to be, and the whole notion of not only the word, the noun religion, but also the verb religious. We confuse those two, and they're very different.
It's because we have so many meanings of them, individual and social.
Cultural implications of the word are pretty important. In our culture, the word religion brings with a whole baggage of things that travel with that.
Even in speaking about it, we're already going into a bunch of mixes.
Right, and perhaps in another culture, not all of that baggage would be there would be another set of baggage.
Yeah.
And so that's where it becomes cumbersome. But if religion involves supernatural or mystical or transcendent kind of experience that is beyond the sensory experience, that within the realm of metaphysics, then that's kind of interest, and that's where we begin to talk about the relationship between religion and the dream world historically, because people believed for a long time that God speaks to them in the dreams, so that was the connection, and the dreams is hear the voice of God. So people were interested in having people interpret their dreams correctly so that they could make wise decisions about what to do. There were people that just did nothing but that, way before Freud, going back to the dreams. This notion that we get into brain science and we begin to understand the brain and we understand the complexity, and we understand this story-making part of us. We are narratives too. We think of ourselves as narratives. But whenever we introduce ourselves as a story. Where are you from? Oh, I was born. Yeah, what do you do? It's a story. And so everything that we do is a story because it makes sense. The things are connected in some way. Even the story of our lives is connected.
I'm serious about that.
When we come to the ends of the story, the parts that we don't understand, the gaps in the story, tell me about where you were 10 years before you were born. That's a gap. I don't know. So I'm going to have to make something up.
Wait, why?
Tell me about where you will be 10 years after you die. Okay, well, there's a gap. I don't know. So I'm going to make up a story. So
That's intriguing me right there. Why would we make a story?
Well, one of the ideas is...
I'm wondering if it's based on fear, speed, pressure, something like that.
Fears are incredible catalysts, I think, for generating stories. And,
It seems to also relate to dreams in that you just have a situation which you assume. Your judgment is whacked out.
Yeah. Stories, I think, help us, give us a sense of meaning, and a meaning that may have nothing to do with truth.
Well, why would we even want the meaning though? It seems to be related to
Meaning concerns
our searching even.
Our existential identity in some sense, and when I talk about meaning, I'm talking about what matters to me or what is of value to me, And to the extent that we tell our stories, the stories tell us and other people about what we value and what we don't value.
So stories is more about our fears than about actuality.
Yeah, and making sense of those fears and sharing those fears with other people might be an important part of keeping people together, because a common
Well, why do
fears,
people need to be together in the first place?
fears can bind people together as strongly as love, and fears can separate people too as strongly as love.
Yeah.
And so I think you're right to think that maybe the old what was it, the Empedocles sort of notion of love and strife